Greetings. Once again, we are here to continue with our topic, the very big topic. Yeah, the report writing, the research report writing topic. So this video, previous video, in position to look at the third subtopic under this topic, which was the research methods. And now in this video, we're going to start looking at the fourth subtopic, which is how to define your research problem. A research problem is just a specific issue, difficult, contradiction, or a gap in the knowledge that you will aim to address in your research. So you might look for practical problems aimed at contributing to change, or theoretical problems aimed at expanding knowledge. For example, personally, as a mechanical engineering student, I ask myself, actually, I wonder how comes in this country, Uganda, we don't have anyway. First, according to my awareness, I hardly see things, innovative discoveries or innovative developments in this field when it comes in terms of production in this country. So you would ask yourself why. So that is a practical problem we have in this country. How comes we don't have such innovations in terms of production? Like if you look at production of machines, you don't have a company that produces machines. For example, if it comes to, let's say, how should I put? Like we don't have a industry that's produce machines from raw industry. Okay, it may not be from raw materials. Let's say, like we don't have any general company that is in that field of producing. When I talk of machines, probably I don't know how to put it. Like spare parts. Okay, let me say spare parts. Don't have any industry that is any company that is in that. Yet we have mechanical engineers here, and I think they are not bad. Yeah, we are not bad. We are not that bad that we cannot produce. But then okay. Now that is the problem. So looking at that problem, I can focus to look at the why is it like that? How comes you don't have such an industry or a company in that field? So as a mechanical engineering student, I may decide to have a research in that area and find out, is it because of the government policies, or it's because actually we don't have innovative engineers in that field? So that can be research, probably, I think, personally. So that is a problem. So I can put a research on that problem. So that can be good, a practical research problem. So that was just for illustration purposes, to illustrate, to help you understand what a research problem is. So that can be research problem. Now from that research problem, we can go on to get research questions. So that is it. So bear in mind that some research will do both of these things. Have it that being okay, let's say usually the research problem focuses on one or the other. The type of research problem you choose depends on your broad topic of interest and the type of research you want to do. Like for example, I'm in the mechanical engineering field, and that is a problem like I've explained. So I've chosen that problem from the field that I'm in. So now from that broad field, I come to that problem from which I can get, and I want to do that research. Yeah. So that type of research problem depends on your broad topic of interest. So that is my broad topic of that is from my broad topic of interest. I've come up with that problem, and I want to do that research. So that's what you have to know. So this video actually will help us identify and refine a research problem. So when you're writing your research proposal or introduction, you will have to formulate it as a problem statement or a research question. Like I've said, from the research problem you get a research question which you state, or a problem statement. Yeah, like we are going to have an illustration, or like I've illustrated. So, but it was not that very specific. That was just general to show you what a research problem is. But now the new term here is research proposal. We shall look at a research proposal, like how it is and how to write a research proposal. But what you have to know research proposal is that it is a that just like you hear, I know you've heard of the word proposal. There are grant proposals whereby organizations ask for grants. Like in the aim of a proposal is to ask for financial support maybe in what you're going to do. So it is the same thing with a research proposal. Anyone doing a research and a particular organization, they may need financial support, so they can ask a research proposal to their organization to provide that support. So that is the main aim of a research proposal. So let's look at why is a research problem important, because we've seen a research problem. So why is it important? Why do you need it to make your research? So your topic is interesting and you have lots to say about it, but this isn't a strong enough basis for an academic research without a well-defined research problem. So you are likely to end up with an unfocused and unmanageable project if at all you don't have a research problem. So the research problem is the one that guides you. And you might also end up repeating what other people have already said, trying to say too much, or doing research without a clear purpose and justification. So you need a problem in order to do research that contributes new, relevant insights. You need to identify a problem. So whether you are planning your thesis or starting a research paper or writing a research proposal, the research problem is the first step towards knowing exactly what you will do and why. So the very first step of your research as you're starting, you should have a research problem. Like you can't start a research without having thought of a research problem. So having thought of that research problem that I mentioned earlier, then you go on. So it guides you. It tells you what you will do and why you will do it. So I know what I will do and why I will do it, because I want to discover why in this nation we don't have such an industry. So step number one, now we're looking at the steps that will help you to identify a research problem. So one, you need to identify a broad problem area. You need to identify a broad problem area. So you may find that illustration I've given is a broad problem area. So in that broad problem area, you have to look to focus on something to give it a further thought and actually come up with a practical research problem, or with something that is like, as you discuss and read about your topic, look for underexplored aspects and areas of concern, conflict, or controversy. So your goal is to find a gap that your research project can fill. You should make sure that always your research should be productive in one way or the other. It should help in one way or the other for your research proposal to be accepted. Otherwise, if it is not constructive, then why should it be funded? Something like that. So another so like I mentioned earlier, there are practical research problems and there are theoretical research problems. Now when you look at practical research problems, if you're doing a practical research, you can identify a problem by reading reports, following up on previous research, and talking to people who work in the relevant field or organization. So you might look for issues, maybe issues with performance or efficiency in an organization, or you can look at processes that could be improved in an institution. You're looking at likely practical problems. Third, you can look at areas of concern among practitioners in a field, or you can look at difficulties faced by specific groups of people in society. So that there are some of the things you may look at under practical problems. So if your research is connected to a job internship, you will need to find a research problem that has practical relevance for the organizations, for the organization. So examples of practical research problems. Let's look at some examples of practical research problems. So for example, uh, someone, let's say someone can look at voter turnout in a certain region having decreased in contrast to the rest of the country, or you can look at a department of a particular company having a high staff turnover rate affecting productivity and team cohesion. Or maybe someone can be said to look at a non-profit organization that faces a funding gap. That means some of its programs will have to be cut because they are facing funding gaps. So such problems. And then the theoretical research problems, these ones focus on expanding knowledge and understanding rather than directly contributing to change. So you can identify a research problem by reading recent research, theory, and debates on your topic to find a gap in what is currently known about it. And under this, you might look for, let's say, a phenomenon or context that has not been closely studied. You can look for a contradiction between two or more perspectives. You can look at a situation or relationship that is not well understood, or a troubling question that has yet to be resolved, something like that. So theoretical problems often have practical consequences, but they are not focused on solving an immediate issue in a specific place, though you might take a case study approach to the research. So some examples of practical research problems you can have. One, maybe the effects of long-term vitamin D deficiency on cardiovascular health are not well understood. Maybe you can look at that. It is like the effects of long-term vitamin D deficiency on cardiovascular health are not well understood. So you can look at that. Or you can look at the relationship between gender, race, and income inequality that has yet to be closely studied in context to the millennial gig economy. Or someone can choose to look at uh, any other thing in their field. So you just get something that is in your field. You look for any gap that you think you can fill using your research. So having identified the problem, step number 2 is to learn more about the problem. So you have to find out what is already known about the problem and pinpoint the exact aspect that your research will address. For example, you look at the context and the background. So you look at things like who does the problem affect, how, like, has it been an issue for a long time, or it is a newly discovered problem? What research has already been done? Have any solutions been proposed? Or what are the current debates about that problem? And what do you think is the missing? And what do you think is missing from those researches? Then when you look at the specificity and relevance of that problem, so these are the following questions you may ask looking at the specificity and the relevance of that problem. So you can ask yourself things like, what particular place, time, or people will you focus on? What aspect will you not be able to tackle? What will be the consequences if the problem is not solved or resolved? And who's who will benefit from the resolving of the problem? For example, the management of an organization or future researchers, something like that. So let's look at an example of a specific research problem. Let's say we're looking at a non-profitable organization X that has been focused on retaining its existing support base but lacks understanding of how best to target potential new donors. So to be able to continue its work, the organization requires research into more effective fundraising strategies. So so meaning this is a practical problem that is concentrating on a particular organization X and a particular non-profitable organization that really works to retain its support base, but has no strategies to get other or new fundraisers. So in that case, if someone is squared up that research, that can be their research problem. So you see that that research problem is aiming at helping a particular organization. So when you have narrowed down your problem, the next step is to formulate a problem statement and research questions or hypotheses. So narrowing down your problem, like I said, you identify the broad problem area. Having identified the broad problem area, then you narrow it down, because you not handle something that is very broad. You have to narrow it down. Then after narrowing it down, then you can go on and formulate problem statements or research questions. So for example, let's go back to the problem uh, uh, research problem I brought in the beginning. The problem is we don't have any industries or companies that produce machines, like I explained earlier, that produce machines. Let's say that is the problem. Like we don't have any company that produces spare parts. Yet you find that those students that have done mechanical engineering can actually work in such industries, and if they are introduced and more training be added to our education system, maybe you find that we may have people that are better at that. So now that is the problem. So now I can narrow down that problem to asking myself why. So the problem is that we don't have. Then why don't we have? So that is the broad area. Now I have narrowed to go down to the reasons. Why don't we actually have such companies in Uganda? So having narrowed it down to that, then using that one as my problem, my research problem, why don't we have? I can formulate questions that can be research questions to help me get solutions to that. So this is the end of this video. We can't take it any further. So in the next video we shall be starting with the other parts of this particular subtopic, and we shall be continuing maybe to the end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you've not yet subscribed, and you can turn on the bell to be notified whenever we post a new video, so that we keep on the same page. Thank you.